NBA and NHL props. We're going to take a look back at what happened at the UFC event. We're going to take a look ahead to the PFL UFC bare knuckle. We're also going to look at the recap of how the month of March went for units and gambling record. And I'm going to give a little explanations of why we haven't been doing the bankroll reset day. And we're going to go over the less is more approach. It's an explanation of low volume in the different sports that we do. So thanks everybody for joining. I am Andy. Welcome to the Road to Millions. And there's no time to waste. Let's get right into it. So we'll go ahead and start with the NHL and the NBA here. So we can start with NBA. There's a couple looks here that I think are worth your time here. So the first one I want to look at here is Tyrese Halliburton. This was a guy that we were absolutely fading for his 3 points, his made 3 pointers. And so if we look what happened here, a big slump here after the All-Star break. So he goes ballistic in the All-Star game. Then the first game back, he hits his over and then just a slew of unders. But look what's happened here. He's gone over in 4 out of the last 5 games, and the last couple 4, 6, 3, and 3. So you might be getting a really nice opportunity. Look at these numbers here on the over, minus 108. So you might be getting a really nice couple of games window to take advantage of Tyrese Halliburton. If he starts going over consistently, this number is just going to be off the board. It's not going to be minus 108 anymore. And you got a Brooklyn defense that is 23rd in 3-point percentage. So they give up about 13 made 3-pointers. So Tyrese Halliburton is an interesting one to look at today. I'm going to go to the points, rebounds, and assists. And because I like playing unders, let's take a look at some guys that have not been doing very good. Franz Wagner, not been shooting the ball well at all. I mean, they got his points total all the way down to 17 and a half. This guy 13, 13, 14. Technically went over this 18, but in these games, I believe his point total was over that. So he's had a lot of unders coming in and just not been getting it done, coming up just short. So only 2 out of the last 10 games has he gone over, and both of them are against the terrible tanking Toronto Raptors. So not saying Portland's much better, but Franz Wagner has been going under his points, rebounds, and assists. Maybe it's a good get right spot tonight for him. His teammate Paolo Banchero, I mean, same thing. 2 out of the last 10. So both this Orlando team doesn't put up a lot of points. So it's a slow place. It's a slow paced team, a lot of defense. So look at Paolo, and it's kind of more of the same story here. Not really getting close to his point total in a lot of these games. So you might take a look at some of the Orlando Magic players as they just have not been getting it done. There was this one was interesting to me. Jabari Walker for Portland. He's playing tonight. So I don't know if anyone's noticed, but the Los Angeles Clippers have just decided they're done playing defense for the rest of the regular season. I think over their last 20 games are 27th. Like teams like Charlotte are better than them on defense. So they just kind of have given up. So Jabari Walker took advantage of that. He went over a couple of games against the Clippers. He had a game against Denver where he was perfect from the field. But the rest of these games, he has not been getting over his points, rebounds, and assists. And they're playing Orlando tonight, as we mentioned. This is a brutal matchup. This is a really, really tough matchup for Portland and for Jabari Walker. So you could look at his under on the points, rebounds, and assists, or you could just look at points. But regardless, this is just going to be a really, really tough one. He plays a decent amount of minutes these days. They're sitting quite a few players there at Portland. So, but you just look at his numbers. He's not getting over hardly at all. And just recently, 7 points, 4 points, 4 points. So his points total is at 10 and a half points, rebounds, and assists. I don't know. I think if one hits, the other's probably going to hit. So Jabari Walker was another one of these guys that I was looking at. So I don't think there was anything else. I think there was something in the points category. Trey Murphy. This is another guy that's been going under. His points, rebounds, and assists, and his points as well. Points, rebounds, and assists. He went over against Portland. He went over against Milwaukee. Other than that, he's kind of been dancing around this number, just not quite getting it done. Look at over his last 30 games: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's it. So 23 unders out of the last 30 games for Trey Murphy. Phoenix defense, is it good? Probably middle of the pack about these days. So, but that's a really good one if you're like me and you're trying to follow some of these trends. I mean, this guy's been going under quite a bit. So Trey Murphy is another under that I like in the NBA. We can jump over to the NHL, and I don't do a whole lot with shots on goal. Zach Hyman is going over his 3.5 shots on goal. I don't know what's happened with Zach Hyman. He's just firing away, and he gets a great matchup against St. Louis. I'm not playing it. I haven't done shots on goal, I don't think, all season. Um, if I am playing shots on goal, I'm trying to find these guys at 1.5. I getting 4 shots on goal, I think, just so tough. Well, not tough for Zach Hyman. I mean, even Austin Matthews 4.5. He's gone over 80% of the time the last few games. So I'm looking at some of these shots on goal. Jacob Trouba, 1.5. It's just so easy to get 2 shots on goal. I feel like you can just fall into that. So he gets a good matchup against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's defense obviously getting worse as their numbers for the season are getting worse as the season goes on. So I mean, this guy's been going over quite a bit over the last 30 games. Minus 166, little juicy, but not too bad. And then if we're looking at points, by the way, I'm number 1 now in NHL for the season. Units, winning percentage, and ROI. So my strategy of NHL, and I will get to the low volume, less is more approach that has gotten me to number 1 on the list at WagerTalk. So you got quite a few guys that are struggling here. Unfortunately, you got quite a bit of juice here. I mean, Niederreiter, I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's minus 195. I mean, parlay piece, yeah, probably. He's facing the Kings, and this guy cannot score a point. 6 games he's had a point in the last 30, and I don't think he's had any in the last 10. So this would be breaking a really, really big trend. It's minus 195. So I don't know, maybe a same game parlay or just look for another parlay piece. There's a couple out there. So if you're parlaying him, you could also just fade anybody on Columbus or some of these bad teams. I mean, here's a guy, Voronkov, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He doesn't have a point in the last 10 games. They get Colorado. So this is another guy that's really cold. One game in the last like 17 or 18. So maybe those are parlay pieces. We're in play in the NHL tonight. I'll get to that in a second. So those are a couple guys if we're looking at players to not have a point. And this guy, holy cow. Luke Kunin, this is his season. Like, he only has, I believe, 15 points on the season. I know it's minus 190, but man, guy has 4 games in the last 30 with points. So, if you would have played this at 1 unit for the last 30 games, you would have cashed on 26 of them. You would have lost on 4 of them. So that'd be 8 units minus 26. You'd be up 18 units. So, we I get told, I think people are starting to come around on this. Like, I would get told that minus 190 is a ridiculous price to pay on something like this. But I mean, look at this record here. So Luke Kunin, and he gets a tough one against Seattle. I mean, I would say tough one. Seattle's reeling, but I don't know. It's the San Jose Sharks, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. So there are some parlay pieces if you're looking at NHL tonight. Just pretty wild on some of those guys to not have a point. All right, what do we have up for today at Wager Talk? Well, it's $9 customer appreciation day, so I've got an NHL and NBA best bet pack that is up 5-0 in NHL and 6-0 in the NBA. We are on an 11-0 run in both of those sports. I'll start breaking down a little bit more of how we were able to get to those goals. We put up the discount a couple days early. You get a $310 discount on a 90-day pass. Really smoking deal. It's normally $849. You can get that down to $539. So if you're normally buying month to month, probably a good time to jump on. You're going to get a really, really big savings. I mean, that's $100 a month off of it. So you're going to get all sports included with that, all 5% plays, all of our props, all of that. Nice start to the baseball season, 2-0. So you can take advantage of that at wagertalk.com. I am skyrocketing up the charts. We're going to get to the units, but a huge, huge March, and really proud of the work that we've been doing, up 59 units for the year. So if you just want today's pack, $9 gets you an NHL and an NBA best bet. If you're looking for more long-term, which of course we always recommend, there's a discount now. No promo code needed. Just go to Andy Lang at wagertalk.com. Let us, you know what? Let's talk some UFC. UFC was a very, very strange card. I follow a lot of the people that I kind of respect on Twitter, and there's not too many of them, got absolutely smoked. And we can go over our results from that. But I wanted to go through some of the fights and see what was happening. So we lost on our big play when Bruno Silva lost to Chris Weidman after getting his eyes gouged out, which I'm still bitter about. But the more I look back on it, well, let's just go through the card, because I think there's some things that we can take away. So let's just start going through the fights, because for the most part, I had good reads on it. There were a couple plays that we did not put in, and I was very glad we did not. And then there were some plays that I just rolled my eyes. Why didn't I put that in? So Colin Lochran over Angel Pacheco. I do not know why I did not put this one early in the week. It was like minus 300. It was a perfect parlay piece. By the time weigh-ins got here, Lachlan was minus 500. We watched Angel Pacheco on Contender Series. We knew he sucks. I will say, Lachlan, oh my God, is he a fade moving forward? Good Lord. So that was a little bit of a regret. Malkoun Petrosky, here's weird fight number one. What happened to Petrosky? I saw someone on Twitter. He said he got like hit in the Adam's apple, and it threw him off. So Malkoun gets the win. Weird situation. Petrosky just all this engaging, and then all of a sudden not. Emo Aslan and Anton Turkali. So you guys heard me give a breakdown on this. It did cash. Holy cow, was that sweaty? It was pretty late into the fight. I did not think that Aslan was going to get a knockout in round 3. I thought it would be coming early. I thought Aslan was slowing down. Thank God Turkali and his lack of striking defense showed up. He gets knocked out, but Aslan is a complete fade moving forward. So that was a nice free play winner. I regret I didn't put it in as a main play. Bazooka and Connor Matthews, no takeaway from that one. Julio Arce and Herbert Burns. This was part of our 5% parlay. It went exactly how you thought it would. Herbert Burns just has no motor, no energy, no emotion, just gives up after a few minutes in the fight. So credit to Jim Valero, who does all of our UFC videos and MMA videos with us. I mean, he was all over the under, and that was a great play. I mean, Julio Arce inside the distance was probably the play of the century. So, Jandaroba and Loopy, we did cash on this one. We did not sprinkle the money line. Slight regrets, but shout out to Corbin. He was like, let's just take the plus 3.5. There's no way Loopy's going to finish Jandaroba and steamroll and win 3 rounds. So that was a really nice cash. I do regret not putting Landwehr in. Emmer starts off really, really fast, and then you just see him hit a wall, and it was over. The under was a great play. That could have been a nice play, but Landwehr was a definite one. We hit on Jandaroba. We lost on the other one, but was I so bummed we put in Melissa Gatto and Dudakova. That was going to be a win. I mean, it was going to be a win. I thought it was going to be a win. I bet it early in the week, and then I saw him at face-offs. So I was like, Dudakova didn't have a chance. Then it turns out she wasn't feeling good that day. Oh, that one was a little bit sick. We locked that in, and then we didn't get it. Okay, now we move to the main card. Chidi and Jaquane and McKee. What was that? McKee just clinches up. Everyone had this fight pegged to go under. It ended up being this completely boring Fans are booing. It was a bad fight. McKee did not come out of that looking very good. Losing is one thing, but not being exciting is another. So I would chalk that up to weird fight number 2. Nobody expected a clinch fest in that one. Bill Algeo and Kyle Nelson. Here's an early stoppage if I've ever seen it. Like Bill Algeo gets rocked by Kyle Nelson. Shout out to Kyle Nelson for I mean, the guy's a gamer, man. He shows up. So he rocks Algeo. I do not know why the ref stopped that fight. Bill Algeo gets rocked in every fight. They didn't even knock him down. So I have that chalked up to weird fight number 3 with an early stoppage. Under Sultan Rozaboyev and Cedric Dumas, here we go again. Here we go with 2 fights in a row with some weird eye situation. There's weird fight number 4. Weidman and Silva, that was one of the more strange fights I've ever seen. We had bet on Silva. It was silly of us to not take into account what a circus that fight was going to be. In New Jersey, Weidman's hometown. Weidman early in the week talking about his supplements. There was just weirdness all around that fight. It probably should have been a stay away. We locked it in, and it was a mistake. But you have Weidman gouging the you-know-what out of Silva's eyes. They changed the result of the fight after the fact, which now sends sportsbooks into a tizzy because do you pay out Weidman TKO? Do you pay him decision? That's a big argument. Do not be surprised in a few months if this fight is ruled a no contest. I will let you figure out and decide why. So there's weird fight number 5. Luque and Buckley. Buckley gets the win. I don't know what happened with Luque. I know a lot of people were jumping up and down saying that looked like a dive. I don't know. It looked very, very strange. I'm not going to chalk it up to a completely weird fight because I didn't think it was as weird as the other ones. But if you want to chalk it up to a weird one, you could say that is 6 bizarre, weird fights on this card. Blanchfield and Fierro, I have big regrets. Big regrets that I did not put Fierro in. Blanchfield, this was a really, really good learning moment for her. She has got to get better striking. She's going to have to be more aggressive. And honestly, it's Fierro's time to really, push for a title. It's a really, really good, big, convincing win as an underdog, but she was okay. I wouldn't say it was the most brutal, oh, wow, how aggressive, how violent. But we were on Fierro, and I regret not putting that one in. My biggest takeaway from this was just a strange card. It's okay to just chalk it up and say, shenanigans and weirdness all over the place. Of course, it was in New Jersey. So I don't know if there's a whole lot I take away. You just have a lot of really, really weird decisions. We came out down a couple units. Would have been almost even if that Gatto fight had taken place and if I had put in some of these other plays that we had good reads on. But I think the biggest takeaway is just move on to the next one. It's just a weird, bizarre fight night. We just move on from that one. So, speaking of which, moving on, we can go over a couple fights. I'm already done with my article from this week, so just real quick, Nora Cornell at plus 270 is great value. Melissa Mullins' striking defense is almost non-existent. Cesar Almeida, and Budka. If you guys remember Chad on Contender Series, who had the most boring fight in the history of Contender Series, and Dana White ripped him, and then he tested positive for cocaine after, the guy was probably coming down off a cocaine bender. Dylan Budka is who he fought in that boring fight, and so Dana was like, Dylan, you did your part. Your opponent wouldn't engage and just grabbed and hugged the entire time. So Budka gets a shot. Stay away from that one. Argueta and Matsumoto, I get a capable and successful UFC fighter against a Contender Series guy making his debut. And Dan Argueta's the underdog. These Contender Series guys have not fared well in their debut. And here we go again with the UFC being an underdog. Rodriguez and Calvillo, no thanks. I want nothing to do with that one. Again, Victor Hugo, Contender Series guy. Not a whole lot of film on him. He's going to be working for submissions. Alatang, not the best fighter in the world, but he's got UFC experience. Do not be surprised again if the UFC fighter just looks better. in the fight against the Contender Series guy. Norman Dumont, Randami. Randami is plus 160. I know Dumont's not very good. Just be careful. Randami is almost 40 years old. She took 4 years off due to an injury and having a baby. So this is a big ask. That being said, Dumont, I watch film and I watch Dumont struggling against Chelsea Chandler. So no way I'm laying minus 192 on Norman Dumont. Court McGee and Alex Morano. I know Morano got beat by Joaquin Buckley, pretty dominant fashion, but come on, it's Court McGee. The guy went forever without being finished, and then he's gotten finished in his last 2 fights, won by Matt Brown. Trevor Peake, Charlie Campbell, no thanks. I can just tell you I'm not betting minus 192 on Charlie Campbell. Walter Walker and Lucas Brzeski. Okay, if you're thinking of laying minus 355 on Walter Walker, I started watching this guy's film. Oh my God. This guy, I don't know if Bresky's the guy to take him out. This guy is such a fraud. 11-0. He has fought nobodies. He's a big guy, not that good at striking. His ground game and takedown is okay. Let me show you a guy that he fought. This is Walker. Look at the size of the man that they put him up against. This is not photoshopped. This is the real size of the guy. This is the level of competition that Walker has been fighting. It's bonkers. So I know Bresky has not done well in the UFC. I know his takedown defense is horrible. Be careful if you're laying minus 355 on Walker. There's a chance this guy shows up and just looks terrible. Bahamondes and Giagos. Bahamondes really got bullied by Ludovic Klein. I'm not sure Giagos has the stamina or the power to do that. So it's probably Bahamondes. Man, minus 340 is a big price. Morgan Charrier and Chepi Mariscal. I think this is going to be a great fight. I liked what I saw from both these fighters in their last one. Mariscal, I know, lost to Jack Jenkins with the injury, but I think he's getting better. I think he's at a pretty decent gym. I saw him start to get a little more technical and everything. I would just say I'm a big fan of Morgan. I made money on his last couple fights, so big fan of his. Alexander Hernandez, Damon Jackson. Have fun laying minus 200 on that striking defense of Alexander Hernandez. And then Brendan Allen and Chris Curtis. Minus 205 on Brendan Allen. I would encourage you to go look at the last few people that Brendan Allen has beat. Listen, he beat the guys that they put up in front of him, but not that impressive. So, and Chris Curtis was able to stuff all of Brendan Allen's takedowns, and this is a rematch. So, Chris Curtis was able to stuff takedowns, got the knockout. I'm not laying over minus 200 on Brendan Allen against a striker and a guy that's got good takedown defense. So, we do have PFL. This is on Thursday, so all access clients expect to play coming out tonight or tomorrow in PFL, and we'll get the video up. We get to fade Jordan Heiderman again. He's terrible. Lucas Brennan, if you haven't watched Lucas Brennan fight, guy is a firecracker, man. He is an explosive guy. Loves taking the back. That'll be fun. Curious line movement. Watanabe was like minus 425. I wanted to be all over her to fade Shanna Young. Shanna Young is the one that jumped over to PFL, and then in her last fight, she beat an absolute tomato can, and then talked about getting her CDL, and she's a truck driver now. I wanted to bet on Watanabe. This line move has moved over $1, and it terrifies me. Dakota Ditcheva is going to run through Lisa Maldan. Liz Carmouche faces Juliana Vasquez. Not for the first time, not for the second time, but the third time in a row. Velasquez has faced Carmouche the last 2 times. It has not gone well for Velasquez. And then Goltsab and Vassal should be good. And then Moldavsky and Lesia should be good. So Battle Bowl card, I think there's one really good play that we're going to be able to take out of there. So, and then we have bare knuckle fight. This one's going to be a circus. That was another weird one. Bare knuckle, we had a draw, we had a tie. I've never bet on that and had a tie. So here's a big thing with bare knuckle, and I did not even know it. Last event, they used a big ring, and it made all the difference in the world. The small ring, it is literally like fighting in a barrel, and the big ring, oh man. Oh man, do the the longer guys have the advantage in that big ring? It is hard to chase them down, and you get stuck with the jab. So lesson learned. I was ecstatic to get a draw in the main event because the longer fighter had a real advantage over Dotson. If they do that rematch again, it's in the smaller ring. Dotson's going to run through him. But in a bigger ring, that was really interesting. So we're gonna have to look at the ring size before. Um, there's always somebody funny that is fighting on the bare knuckle card, and here he is. Take a look at this guy. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name. This is his picture on Tapology. And you're saying, oh, he's big. Oh, he's tough. He must be awesome. He must have a lot of knockouts. Well, he does, except they're all him getting knocked out. Look at this guy's record. There's no wins. There's no wins. This guy started in 2021. He hasn't won yet. So this guy's fighting on the card. So you're going to see a lot of guys fighting on this card that have not fought before. Like Jack Draper is the guy that is fighting this other guy. He actually has a couple of. I'm guessing this Jack Draper is going to be like minus 1,000 over this guy who just walks around and gets knocked out. So yeah, big week in UFC, PFL, and bare knuckle. Hopefully, get back onto our winning ways in that one. All right, let us talk here about our March recap, and we'll go over the unit. So first off, why have we not been doing our bankroll reset? Well, I'll be honest with you guys and I'll tell you the little story. So, as you know, we have our recommendation of units here that we talked about a while back. This is what I recommend. And so, what I started doing was I would put in our plays, as you guys know, and then I would put in there what I'm recommending to bet and what I'm betting with my own bankroll. So, a couple things happened. First off, someone complained. They complained that why is it a 5% play when I put in there that I'm betting to win 3 units? Shouldn't that be a 3% play? So I'm not going to do that anymore. We get a complaint, we have to address it. So that has gone away. So I will no longer be telling you in the play what I'm betting on the bankroll because we had to address that complaint. You guys who have been with us long enough kind of know how we do it. So this is our recommendation. You are free to do whatever you want. By all means, it is your bankroll. It is your money. You do whatever you want. This is pretty much what I'm doing with my bankroll. I'm a little bit cautious with the amount of plays and with the units that I bet. So this is a pretty good general idea of what I do with my bets. Here's the other thing that happened. There was discussion that when we launched the new website, the WagerTalk website, that we were going to make an adjustment to the percentages. We were talking about maybe going from percentages maybe to stars, or doing something similar to this where we just blanket tell everybody, hey, if we have a 5% play, this is what we recommend. So I held off from doing bankroll reset day for a couple of reasons. One, we had some uncertainty as what the units were going to be and the percentages. So I wanted to wait until we got to the new website. The other thing is we didn't do bankroll reset day. Nobody asked us to do it again. Not one person. But if I'm late on putting the UFC video up, I get message after message after message. I also went back and looked, and they're the least viewed videos for the Road to Millions is the bankroll reset day. Somebody in Takedown Live also said something about like if you guys have been following us for a while, you guys already know how to do bankroll reset day, so you don't need to watch me do it. So somebody was like, I already know how to do it on my own. Love that you showed me how, but I don't need to sit through that. So we're going to try and figure out a way. I'm going to try and figure out a way to do a recap. Maybe we'll do bankroll reset like every once in a while. But I guess if you have questions on the bankroll reset, let me know. If you have questions on the spreadsheet, let me know. Or if you're new, leave me a comment and I'll reach out to you. But you guys know how to do Bankroll Reset Day if you've been following us for a while. Maybe next week I'll do a a little, I don't know, some kind of recap. But when we have videos that don't perform well, it hurts the overall algorithm of the channel. So we really had to make some adjustments on that one. That being said, I don't think I've done a great job doing Road to Millions consistently. Um, it's my fault. I've kind of been waiting on the new websites and other things, but it's not an excuse. So we're going to be much better on this, even if they're quick videos. But I just wanted to be upfront and honest. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. Okay, we can do a recap. Why not? So let's take a look at March, which was one of our nicest and biggest months ever. So again, these units are using the WagerTalk 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. Adjust at your own pace, adjust for whatever plays that you guys have and make sure you're taking all your plays into account. So let's see what happened in March. So golf, we went 5-1 for plus 13.6 units. The lacrosse department has been crushing this season. March 9-3 for 19.1 units. Amazing. MLB got off to a great start. 2-0 plus 4 units. MMA 5-5 for minus 4.1 units. That I irked so bad about the Chris Weidman fiasco. And also this doesn't count the cross sport parlays. That's not a fully accurate one because we have a 5% win involving one down here in the cross sport parlay. Auto racing 3-3 for plus 1.24 units. Again, we have an auto racing play in the cross sport parlay. NBA 11-4, only 15 plays this month for plus 11.25 units. Happy with that. NHL 13-4, only 17 plays for plus 15.5 units. Soccer only 1-1. Tennis 5-4, and our cross sports parlay 3-2. So total went 58-28 for plus 55.6 units. So, couple things to take away here. Looking at golf, let's take golf, NBA, NHL, and MLB into account. Here is what I've been doing with these sports, and I decided to fully commit to this, and the results have worked out good. So you guys know, like when we have a golf tournament, want to put up a bunch of plays. Well, I haven't been doing that. I like last week, one play. That was it. 4% play, cash it. NBA and NHL. It is my opinion, and this is just for me. It is my opinion that I am not good enough to handicap every single night in these daily sports. I believe it is too hard. I know it's too hard for me to do. So what I've done is absolutely narrowed down my NBA and NHL and MLB teams and players that I want to bet on. And I only fire away when I want to, and it is not every night. I believe there was an NBA, I think we went like 9 days without an NBA play. And I know that like in our industry, you want to put up plays every day to get sales. And I just thought, you know what? I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to go for only putting up plays when I absolutely love it. And hopefully by doing this really low volume, not putting up plays every day, I have a very high winning percentage. And if I have a high winning percentage, I hope people will notice when I do have plays, it is time to jump on board. And that is what's happened. So this is a win-win for everybody. Here's what I mean. So for me, it is so less stress to not have to try and fire away on NBA and NHL and MLB every single night. It is so much less work and so much less stressful. But look what else has happened. In the month of March, 4 units, 11 units, and 15 units. That gets us to like 30 units in 1 month by lowering the amount of plays that we're doing and by lowering the percentages. These are like 2% plays. I've only had a couple of 5% plays. on these. So by lowering the amount of plays that we've done, by lowering the percentage that we've done, we've made more money. That is like just so counterintuitive to what like I would think most bettors think. So here's a good example in MLB. I had 2 plays for the first 2 games of the season, or for the first 2 days of the season, went +4 units, and I'm taking a week off. It is such a long season in MLB that I think it's really, really hard to win like 3, 4, 5 days in a row. It's almost impossible. So I'm just going to grab a couple of plays here or there. And at the end of the MLB season, I may not have 100 plays. I may be less than 100 plays over the long season. But if you do the math, if you just grab a couple units each week, oh my gosh, is this the ultimate road to millions strategy where you're just grabbing a couple units here or there? I'm going to continue to do this in NBA and NHL. Our total plays, we average 2.8 per day. So when you're looking at where did we have the most plays, we had them in the obviously NHL 13-4, NBA 11-4. Those are daily plays, though. We're only averaging one of these like every other day. And I think that's just how it's going to be going. So less plays has equaled better results for clients. And it's resulted in a better business strategy and more profits on our bankroll and for sales, if I'm just being completely honest, because we're not forcing any plays down. And I really think that people that see when we have a play up know, oh, this is really important. He doesn't put up NBA plays every single night. So when we have one, we can fire away on it. So, and it's worked out great. NBA and NHL combined 11-0 run. So I will continue to do this where we lower the volume, try and hit at this really high percentage. But yeah, the fewer plays has equaled a lot more money added to the bankrolls. So lacrosse, those of you that have been following the cross plays, I think you figured out the strategy by now. Shout out to the lacrosse department. They have found their niche. So I'm actually going to reach out to Dan and see if he can come on and try and talk to us about lacrosse, because it's been an insane NCAA season so far. So MMA is a little bit disappointing. It's okay. We'll get back after it. We'll get after it this week. We said that MMA was going to be big over the next couple months, and I still believe that. So we'll get that back on track. But other than that, everything else is going really good. The Masters is coming up. So expect a lot of golf content next week, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing. But great March. Could not be happier with that. So if you're interested in getting on board long term, no better time than now. $310 discount on a 90-day pass. That is normally $849, and we're down to $539. So, all right, guys, if you guys please hit the like button and leave us a comment. Please, honestly, if you guys could let me know if you even missed the bankroll reset or not. If you just want the recap, or if you want me to start breaking out the spreadsheets, just let me know in the comments section. I do need your feedback, because you guys drive the show. So you guys tell me what you want, and we'll keep providing it. So, all right, that is going to do it for us. Happy April Fool's Day, everybody. It's hard to be on social media on April Fool's Day. You never know what's real or not. So, all right, that's going to do it for us. Good luck on all your plays tonight. We're in action in the NHL and NBA, and we will see you every next time on the Road to Millions.